Do you remember when I was around, I think it was between the age of 12 and 15, I think. I I think it was, I'm not sure if it was Teta or you signed me up for this program where they teach you how to
Mm,
eat, basically.
mm, mm, mm.
Was it you or
So
Teta?
it was no, it was a lady who was a parent at the school, and she ran this program after hours and told us about it, and we signed you up for it. And it was some sort of, I want to say, etiquette. So this is
Yes,
why you're
yes,
saying how
that's
to
right.
eat, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
But the idea was to be aware of how you do things and trying to connect with that.
Yeah,
So I don't actually know a lot about what went on inside the
yeah,
class, but maybe you can
yeah.
tell us
So what I wanted
a
to
bit
say
more
is
about it.
just now, at my current age, at the age of 20, and having started my own business in the summer, I am only now grateful for that experience. And I just wanted to reflect back on it and just talk about how cool of an experience it was and how beneficial it was for me, and how small things like that are just neglected in school, even though they have so much importance. So essentially, what we would do is for the first couple of weeks, we would just have, it was like me and three other kids my age, and then the teacher. We would all just sit down.
Suki. Her
Suki,
name was
that's it.
Suki.
Yeah, her name was
Mm.
Suki. And so me, the other kids, and Suki, we would sit down and we would have dinner. So the first day we just ate, and she just looked at us, observed us, saw how we were eating, and I was always a messy eater. It's pretty. I have that label. I had that label as a child. There's a funny video of me and my cousin. So my cousin Kian, he's the chef of the family. Very very proper ever since he was a kid, and he takes it from his dad Riza, who is also very similar, very neat, very tidy, very respectful. And there's an amazing video. I think you were filming, and we were at a restaurant, and the video starts with Kian, and he's eating spaghetti, and he's, I think, how old was he? Maybe like 4 or 5.
This was the summer after 2009. You were 6 and he was 4. 5.
5, yeah. So he was 5.
Yeah.
He's eating his spaghetti with, he puts the spoon, and then he takes the fork, and he's using the spoon as like the wall for which he can twist the spaghetti onto his fork so that he can eat it without making a mess. And then the camera pans to me, and it's just me with my fingers in the spaghetti like this, tomato sauce all over my shirt, having the time of my life, smiling, not caring. And it was such a funny video because it shows how different we were at that age. And then, and that pretty much continued. I mean, you at some point told me like you can't eat that way. Basically, like you need to have some respect for the table and eating properly. And but it was still, I remember, a slight, I don't want to say issue, but something to work on. So anyways, I went to the school with Suki. I'm sitting with the three kids, and Suki's there. And then the first day she's just observing us, and I think I'm doing everything right. Then the second day and comes, and she explains to us exactly how to set up a table and how to eat a three-course meal from start to finish. And my mind was just like blown at how badly I was doing everything. So the first thing is, setting up the plates and the forks. And she did a really good job of actually explaining what's the purpose of these things. And she would throw in cool historical facts about the origins of these things. And I still remember them to this day. So the way you set up the table is you have your fork and your knife, and your fork and then your knife and I think it's your knife and your spoon on the other side. and your knife is on the right because you cut with your right hand. And you start with the cutlery that you're going to use for the first course, then the second course, then the third course. And the reason why is, when you're using your small spoon for the soup, you finish the soup, you put the spoon in the bowl, and then they take it away. And then when they serve you the first course, you then progress to the next set of cutlery. And one of the cool historical facts she mentioned was, in the olden days, the direction of which your knife was pointing. So how the knife has the sharp edge and then it has the dull edge. If your sharp edge was pointed out, which nowadays we never do, every time you set up the cutlery, it's always should be pointing in. If you go to a formal restaurant, they'll have it pointed towards your plate. The reason why is that was a sign that you wanted to kill the person next to you. So I thought that was fascinating. And so those small facts stuck with me. And then once you set up the plates, you take the napkin, you put it on your lap, and you keep it there for the meal. And that's just, if anything falls, it stops your pants from getting dirty. Then I want to say final exam, but completely did not feel like an exam at all. It was the coolest exam, at least I've done. We went on a trip to Atlantis, and we went to a formal restaurant. And it's these 3 kids, small, all dressed formally and suki, and we just had a 3-course meal from start to finish. We ordered steak, and she also taught us things like how to be polite to the waiter, and how to be respectful of your surroundings. Maybe not eat while you're not talk while you're eating, because you're gonna spit food everywhere. And and so the course finished, and then I only realized how important that was when I went on my first date, and I realized, imagine I was sitting in front of this girl just eating like I did as a 6-year-old. Like, I think she would have ran away. There's no way anything would have progressed. And they actually, from the dates I've been on, one of the girls actually recognized that I eat properly, and she complimented me about it. And I think that's something, being a gentleman is part of, it's something that's part of being a gentleman, is knowing how to eat properly. And I think it's an amazing skill that should be taught in schools but isn't. And it was also really important when I started my business, and I was having some formal dinners with my coach, with my business coach, and some formal dinners with my employees. It was important for me to show that I'm a competent individual and that I can eat properly. Because, to be honest, if I'm having dinner with someone and they're just abysmal at eating, I don't want to say that I'd respect them less, but it would stick with me, and there would be a small part of me that thinks, why, if they're not competent in this and they haven't put in time and energy to improve how they eat in front of people, what else are they not doing?